last spoke in September, and there was a lot going on in the commodities market with coffee bean futures. A lot has transpired since then. Catch us up. What's been going on?
Well, the market at that point was where it was because of some weather events in Brazil and Vietnam, drought primarily just causing bad growing conditions in these two major coffee growing countries. Starting in late November, the market has just been on a historic run up for reasons that are hard to explain, but mostly relate to speculation, a really hot financial markets, hot stock market. Look on Bloomberg and you see all these things that are fired up and have these big curves up. Coffee prices are basically in line with a lot of them.
So as someone who runs a business, coffee prices, those input costs are something you have to deal with, but you're dealing with a storm of other things as well. So there's the speculators driving up the price of coffee, plus other factors. And then you have what's going on with the Canadian dollar. Explain that.
Yeah, so I mean the Canadian dollar right now is obviously not doing so hot against the US. All coffee is bought in US dollars. So that is absolutely just having this very direct impact on the cost of coffee in Canada for all importers and roasters and cafés. So that's absolutely a factor. And then, that is in and of itself being driven by this tariff threat coming from the US. And so as the tariff threat has kind of crept up, the dollar has just gotten weaker and weaker against the US. And we're just seeing how that's impacting things further. And we really don't know where that's going to go.
It sounds super stressful because there are so many factors that you can't control when it comes to things that are happening on the markets. And then a tariff threat, is it actually going to come to fruition? Is it going to become policy? If so, when? That sounds so complicated. How, as a business owner, are you managing all of those things?
Well, so we do have a level of control in particular when it comes to the coffee prices and the foreign exchange because we can hedge those and use financial tools to, buy into the future. So we never want to be buying our coffee today to use tomorrow. We always want to be looking 3, 4, 5+ months in advance. And so we've done that with our coffee and with our foreign exchange rates. The tariff threat's obviously just the wild card in all of this, and there's nothing we can do to manage that except prepare for kind of all scenarios because we just really don't know anything. We don't know when, we don't know the extent, if they're going to be universal, what the retaliatory tariffs going back would look like, how that'll impact any kind of negotiations that'll happen, and what kind of support we're going to get from the federal and provincial government. So it's a real, everything there is just a big ball of questions. So yeah, I mean, it's taking up a lot of our time thinking about it, preparing for it, wondering about it. But, we feel we're as ready as anybody could be in the face of dramatic uncertainty. We're, working with our customers down there. We've got great relationships that have lasted for, 10, 20+ years. So, no one's running for the doors. And we're just, working with them to assure them that we're going to do everything we can and not let this tariff threat impact our business, impact their prices. But that just obviously presents its own set of challenges financially, emotionally. It speaks to just the level of integration of our economies, right? We're not strangers. It's not people buying, from us because of just our weak dollar. These are business relationships that develop because we've had this free trade between our countries for such a long time.
For a lot of people who are watching this, the number one question they want to know about is, how is this going to impact what I pay for my coffee? Because coffee, for a lot of people, it's love. It's the way they start their morning. It's a way to celebrate. It's so many things.
Yeah, and I think it's inevitable that coffee prices are going up. We've seen it already. To some extent, it's just going to go up more. It takes time. Obviously, these things, we're not a gas station. We don't raise our prices overnight and just, the menu board changes. It does take time for those things to kind of work their way through. So I would expect that we'll see higher prices in the next few weeks, few months, depending on, the roaster, the retailer, their strategies for managing it. But we're talking about, a few bucks more per pound probably when all is said and done